Cardas mór an ór atám, an ó caid speisiít a starúla seo, a doscail den ó, a son, an Coiste, Náisiúnta, Comórtha. But I'm fáilte mór rih gachtain an seo. Men and women of Ireland, it's a great honour for me to stand here this morning at the grave of Pádraig Neassa. Sean will give you the life story as best he can about this great man and the men that lie in this plaque this morning and the men that lie throughout the country who gave their lives for the fight for Irish freedom. As Tom Abernathy says in the front of our book, look at the legacy that they've left behind and the impact that this has had on all our lives. We now have a minute's silence for the comrades here in this graveyard, and especially on this Lord Pádraig Neassa. Minute's silence. Agus inis, Maria, Leda Reid. I'd like to call on Sean and give us his oration on Pádraig.
Pádraig. We are here at the Republican plot of St. Finbarr Cemetery, Cork, to pay respects to Pádraig MacNestry on the 100th anniversary of his passing. At the time of his death, he was staff officer with C Company, 1st Battalion, Cork Brigade, Irish Republican Army. Pádraig's life began in Dublin, where he was a well-known Gaelic football player, a member of the Sacred Heart Sodality in Phoblacht, and a total abstainer from alcohol. He was also a member of the very active and influential Keating branch of the Gaelic League, where IRB influence was very strong. Other members of the branch included Michael Collins, Cathal Brugha, Fionn Lynch, Piers Beasley, Gerard O'Sullivan, and Dermot O'Hegarty. During Easter week 1916, over 2,500 men and women took up arms for an Irish Republic. Pádraig fought in the forecourts and Church Street areas as a volunteer with F Company, 1st Battalion, Dublin Brigade, Irish Volunteers. After the Rising, almost 1,100 Irish men and women were arrested. Pádraig must have been viewed as a senior figure because he was one of the 88 people who were tried by court-martial, including the 14 leaders of 1916 who were executed. Pádraig was also sentenced to execution, but his sentence was commuted to 10 years of penal servitude. Pádraig continued his fight while in Portland prison, where he endeavoured to break through the cell walls. For this he received punishment and was in solitary confinement until early 1917, when public pressure from around the world forced the release of Irish political prisoners. Pádraig had been a silversmith in Dublin, but the Irish silver industry had struggled since the Act of Union enabled the import of cheaper, mass-produced English products. The continued suppression of Irish industry motivated local producers to build an Irish industrial revival. In 1910, a sign of this revival was the crafting of the silver ceremonial mace presented to University College Cork. Egan Jewellers produced it, and they employed Pádraig MacNestry as a silversmith after his release from political incarceration. Pádraig MacNestry was described as an outstanding character. We can see this as he fought for freedom and worked for the economic independence of Ireland. Pádraig's employer, Barry Egan, was an elected member of the First Republican Corporation of Cork in 1920, and also became acting Lord Mayor of the city for a time following the death of Terence McSweeney. The burning of Cork was perpetrated just 2 months after the death of Pádraig MacNestry, and his former workplace was razed to the ground. The 4-storey facade of the building next door survived, and is an iconic image of the destruction. That same photograph has inspired the painting of a new mural on the wall of the Middle Parish Community Centre. After a life committed to the cultural, political and economic revival and independence of Ireland, on the 16th of October 1920, Pádraig MacNestry died of typhoid fever in the Cork Fever Hospital, Old Yall Road. He was aged in his late 20s. We honour him here today. Our Yesh Day Garevan.
Eddie have the booklets there if anybody wants to buy them. And Terence McSweeney. They're a $5 ago. There's fantastic reading in it. It's about the men and women of Ireland who gave their lives for Ireland and the legacy that they left behind for us all. Ine and Tear, that they hear fame.